Okay, I like to set my oven on convection roast at 450 degrees. And I use a pizza steel. This one is a Nerd Chef. Got it at Amazon, about $100. You can either make your own pizza dough, which I do sometimes, or you can, if you're lazy, as I am most of the time, just buy some pizza dough from one of your supermarket. On a flour surface. This is maybe the hardest part of the whole thing for me, because this pizza dough seems to have a lot of gluten in it, and it's hard to kind of roll into a pie that's about the size of a pizza peel. I'm going to use a chopper. These little mini choppers are really helpful to at least 6 or 8 cloves of garlic. So you get a fine chop, and then add maybe a quarter cup of olive oil. Don't go overboard on the olive oil. If you need more, you can always add it later. This gives you kind of a nice creamy mixture of olive oil and garlic that you can use to brush on the pizza. I like to use just good old pre-cooked breakfast sausage, because you don't have to worry about whether it cooks whenever you're actually baking the pizza. I always add some extra fennel and some fennel powder because I just like fennel. All right, here they are, kind of rolled out and stretched. You're going to have to play with it as much as you can. You're never going to get them perfectly round. The next step, let them sit for a few minutes and let things rest. And then I'm going to put it on parchment paper with the pizza dough. Then I'll put the olive oil and garlic mixture on. Now I've got some parchment paper and a pizza peel, which is about the size that I stretched my pizza dough to. When you pick it up, it'll probably get a little bit smaller. And I'll get that on top, and it'll be about the same size as your pizza peel. That's one. Okay. Now the next step is to put olive oil, and this gives you plenty of time after the olive oil is on before you actually cook the pizza. So if you have people over, you can do this step a good half hour or more in advance if you like. Take my olive oil and garlic mixture and just brush this evenly over the entire crust. And if for some reason you run out, haven't put enough olive oil in, you can just add a little dollop of olive oil and spread out the garlic a little more. Which it looks like I'm going to have to do on this one. Try to get all the garlic out anyway. All right, the next step is to pre-cook the pizza. This is at 450 and this has been heating up for a while. The important part is to keep an eye on this because it's going to start to bubble within a few minutes. If you'll notice, it's actually starting to bubble just a little bit on the surface. You have to keep these bubbles from coming up too high and keep tamping them down. Otherwise they'll burn and your pizza won't turn out quite right. You can start to see these bubbles now. I'm just trying to break them all. Doesn't hurt to have an oven mitt on, otherwise you gets pretty hot, especially because I use a convection roast, which is got a hot burner on it. I like to wait until it starts to brown just a little bit on top. It won't brown much at all underneath, but just enough so that you can take it out so that it holds together. And you can see how it's brown on the top here. Let me turn the light on. Just a little bit, but easy to handle. And now this next step is to add the cheese. I like to use Munster cheese slices rather than mozzarella. It actually gives you a very nice chew and taste, and it melts really well and makes a great pizza. All right, now we've got the cheese covered, and the next step, if we're going to go that far, is to add the pepperoni, sausage, and mushroom. But first, we put a layer of tomatoes on. I like Campari tomatoes, sliced, or if you're in a pinch, you can use diced tomatoes in a can, which we're going to try also. So here we have the Campari tomatoes, which is by far my favorite of the two. And since I was out of tomatoes, we did some with just some drained Hunt's diced tomatoes. Next we'll add pepperoni and sausage. Okay, the pepperoni's on. Now I just take some pre-cooked sausage, breakfast sausage, which I find works really well, and sprinkle that evenly over the top. Now this looks like it's pretty much done. You can see how nice and brown the crust is. And now we're going to take it out. Nice thing about the parchment paper is you can kind of lift it a little bit to slide underneath gently. Take out your pizza. There it is. Let it sit here and cool a little bit before we cut it. Okay, you can use this kind of a cutter if you like, but since I used to be a partner in an old pizza place, this is a nice little knife that's actually pretty good for cutting the pizza. Here's the crunch. And the nice thing about using this parchment paper is it helps keep your board from getting dirty. And then, okay, buono appetito.
Good.
Buonissimo.